Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's great to be back with Ben as we conclude our review of 1970s movies with the 1979 The In-Laws. We started the 70s with Catch-22 and Alan Arkin, and we conclude with The In-Laws and Alan Arkin. Remember, these are not necessarily the best movies of the 70s. These are really simply some of my favorite movies, or movies that I thought were influential in the 1970s. So Ben's going to pop into the camera view in just a moment to sort of prompt some of the questions that he has for me to clarify about the movie The In-Laws. And here he is.
So when you recommended this movie to me towards the end of 2024, as I watched it on a laptop for the first time, that was the only way I could watch it through a laptop, renting it, I took some notes while I watched the movie. So first I'm just going to state all the notes, then you can help clarify or elaborate on any of the notes that I have.
Sure.
Okay, great. So I said that the action of the movie started within the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a sec.
Sure.
But the movie started with like 2 minutes of getting right into the action. I noticed at least 3 different brand names in their chases throughout different places.
Right.
3 brand names that were shown includes McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and JCPenney's.
Right.
Also, I have the 2 words here saying shooting guns. One of the characters said shooting guns. I don't know what was in reference to, but somewhere in the movie, shooting guns is mentioned. The economy was mentioned at least once or twice. I also have the word plates. I don't know what plates mean. But
okay.
We'll get to plates in a sec. Okay. We got the word economy, but also later on with economy, they mention a worldwide inflation.
Right.
Worldwide inflation. Guatemala is mentioned a bit.
Right.
Guatemala is mentioned inside of Central America. But we also another place mentioned is Bay of Pigs and Tijuana.
Right.
You'll get into that in a second also as well.
Sure.
Bay of Pigs and Tijuana. One of the main characters, not the one we know from that first movie, but the other guy, Peter Falk. I just put Peter Falk as a character. He's kind of like a little out there.
Well, Peter Falk is one of the main characters.
One of the main characters. He's the one that's more like all over the place there.
Yeah.
And then I got a few more things. That 2 presidents were named, Eisenhower and JFK. Mm-hmm. And then I only just have one more bits of little notes here. I got towards the end of the movie when they get to the wedding at the end, one of the characters says the quote, and dance by the light of the moon. I like that quote.
Right.
And dance by the light of the moon. And also a character says something about I don't know whether it was $50 or 50 something savings.
Oh, a $50 savings bond.
$50 savings bond. We'll get to it towards the end of that.
Yeah.
The $50 savings bond.
So you're picking out some really minutiae.
It's very minutiae, but it's just
from the plot.
That's what I got so far in the notes.
Okay,
yeah.
so
and one last thing.
Yeah.
I would consider, after seeing it, since you really like this one, last note I put was I called it a mild classic.
Yes.
But that's some of my notes right there.
Okay. So you're going to have to keep your notes out because I don't remember everything.
Oh, that's fine.
Just ran through.
That's fine. So let's start. Let's start with the first 2 minutes.
Okay. So the first 2 minutes is the setup. It's really the setup for the movie. So what they are stealing is engraving plates that they use for printing money.
Okay.
Money. And these are, from the Federal Reserve. They're actual. Well, in terms of the plot line, they're actual plates. So they're not looking to steal money. They're looking to be able to print money. That feeds into the plot line.
Print money, but not steal it.
Right. Okay. So that's what that's about. Bay of Pigs. So that was when Kennedy was president. Cuba. It has to do with the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Bay of Pigs plan was a failure. It really did not do what it was supposed to do. It was a scandal, to be honest, in the Kennedy presidency, and that's why the line there is the picture of Kennedy with his. Well, at least we tried. you know, John F. Kennedy. So apparently Peter Falk's character was involved somehow in that event, right? So that's what that's all about. So Central America is mentioned, Guatemala.
Yeah. Guatemala, Central America.
Right, and that's because at the time, especially like in the, and even Woody Allen did a movie about bananas. I think it was the name of the movie, and they used to call them banana republics. These little state nations that would rise up, and they would have these leaders that were corrupt in every sense of the word, and in every way, and they,
So towards the end of the movie, they try to meet up with a
corrupt
leader. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what's his name? Richard Libertini, who's one of the stock character actors in the 70s and 80s, and comedy actor. And I mean, he just does that so well. It's like it's like really over the top in terms of how he does that. It's really. I mean, just funny.
So
it's a big gag, one of the gags.
What is In-Laws 1979? What are some things about this that really made it like one of your favorites?
Well, a couple things. First of all, you have to approach it. It's a quote unquote farce. So if you just approach it, it's a comedy. The plot line works internally, for within the movie, and none of the actors take it seriously. In other words, they play their part. They don't try to be funny. Okay, which to me is that's the great example of a great comedy. Is that the actors they play their role. They're not trying to be funny within the role, and so that's why it works. It's a legitimate husband and wife with Nancy Dessau and Alan Arkin as Dr. and Mrs. Cornpet, I think. Yeah, and you can tell they have a normal relationship. They're not overly sweet, or they're not overly antagonistic. They have their discussions. They have disagreements, but you can tell they love each other as a couple. Penny Pfizer, my heart throbbed back then. When she plays the daughter, the bride, and she plays her role, very well. Also loved her in the Frisco Kid. She played, toward the end of that movie. But so Penny Pfizer was a standard. I mean, she was a
Wait. In case you guys don't know, I've never heard of it. The Frisco Kid is a Western comedy that has Gene Wilder and Harrison Ford in it.
Yes.
So if you've never checked out the Frisco Kid, definitely go check that out.
Well, that's an 80s movie.
Yeah, also 79.
Oh, it was also 79? Yeah, okay. All right, so that would have made sense. So okay. Some of the, again, Peter Falk, Arlene Galanka play, the groom's parents, and so essentially, Alan Arkin plays a dentist in Manhattan, and living in North Jersey, and very calm, stable, doesn't get involved in anything, and Peter Falk plays Vince Ricardo, who we find out during the course of the movie that he actually works for the CIA, and so they get involved as in-laws, or a few potential in-laws, and Peter Falk goes through all these machinations and gets involved in this plot to basically unearth a plot by Richard Libertini. He plays this leader of some banana republic down in Central America that he's trying to basically destroy the world economy by printing money, and he has plates for printing
So the plates.
At that time, there was no euros, but German, British, and the last thing he needs is the American plates for printing American money.
So
then he's going to flood the market with illegal, with
okay.
money.
So when I so when I have the word plates down, the plates down have to do with the economy part of the
print.
Okay,
so what happens is he's going to flood the market with all sorts of dollars and German marks and British British currency, all the currency from all over the world, flood it with, and it would then make the money worthless, basically. And in which case the loans that Richard Libertini's country, all these loans that he has to pay back will be worth nothing as well. And so he's going to come out on top. That's the whole idea. And Peter Falk's job is to get this guy arrested. Is basically arrested and incarcerated for trying to do this, and through it all, Alan Arkin's character, Dr. Cornpeck, gets involved with it, and so that's essentially the plot. But again, as I said, each of the actors does such a good job with it. And by the way, Alan Arkin is the executive producer for this movie. Another cool fact: John Morris, who wrote the music for this movie, also wrote the music for Blazing Saddles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not the lyrics, but the music.
But the music itself.
Yeah, same composer. So it's
nice.
And there's some really. There's really some nice acting. Ed Begley Jr. is in the movie, a very young David Paymer has a part. You can tell he's young. He has hair, but he plays the cab driver while they're in New York City. James Hong, an Asian actor who you would recognize immediately, also has an instrumental role in the movie. It's just a delightful movie. It's easy to watch. You root for the characters. Even Richard Libertini, he, because of the way he plays the role as the leader of this country, you just really root for all the characters in the movie.
When Peter Falk gets Alan Arkin involved in all this,
yes.
From the moment Alan Arkin's involved, Alan Arkin doesn't seem to know what's going on the whole time.
That's it, and that's why I say he plays the part correctly, because he's just so overwhelmed by all of this. So what happens is that Peter Falk's character, Vince Ricardo, hires gangsters to steal these plates. That's the opening scene.
The opening scene.
The opening scene is these gangsters that he hired, and they want to get paid. And the boss, whoever the boss is, you never see the boss, right? He wants the money like the next day. And Peter Falk can't pay the money the next day, so he gets Alan Arkin involved, so hopefully to deceive this boss or his henchman, and that instigates Alan Arkin getting involved. There's a whole host of character actors that really support what's going on and just play it all really well. There's an actor that he has a bit part that you might recognize from, because he was also in the movie The Natural.
Okay.
He plays Roy Hobbs' agent.
Okay.
At the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
John Finnegan is his name, and he is in this as well. Has a bit part. There's a cameo by Carmen Dragon. Now that name may not mean anything to you, but he's the father of the duet, the Captain and Tennille, right? he's the captain's father. So he was a conductor and a composer. I mean, like, he really legit. I mean, and he comes in and at the end of the movie as the conductor of the orchestra that plays for the wedding. So just like a whole, again, it's a farce, and you have to take it as such. And it is just a lovely, delightful comedy that you can sit and watch, 5 times. You could you could just enjoy it, and to me, it's like I said, a mini classic. It's not it's not like Network. It's not like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, it's not like those, but in its own way, it's charming. It's delightful. And there's some, chase scenes, and there's some, action in it, but that's not what the movie's about.
Right.
It's just part of the plot that you need those pieces in it. It's something that anybody can watch, I think.
Right. Now, it did get in the 2000s. It did get a remake, but I don't think the remake is nowhere near as this.
I love Michael Douglas as an actor. I love Albert Brooks.
Both of them.
Both of them, but that
was.
remake of The In-Laws does not hold up.
No.
If this is, especially if you've seen this movie first.
Right.
That certainly doesn't.
That much we can agree on.
Yep.
Were there any other names there we haven't yet discussed?
Let me see. I want to see. I think I covered all the main actors. There's some other supporting actors.
Okay. So as I was watching this movie, because I watched it where I could pause it and stuff, I said, there's always product placement in all kinds of movies.
Oh yeah.
So the product placement I saw was for McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and JCPenney.
Yeah. So apparently they helped finance the movie.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's how you get product placement in the movie, folks.
And then now at the wedding at the end,
yeah.
when the daughter had the wedding at the end, I mentioned that one of the characters has this quote I like, because I like dancing and I like the moon. So the quote had something to do with the fact of and dance by the light of the moon. I thought whoever said that's a great little line.
Right. Well, it's actually from a song.
Oh, it's actually from some kind of song.
And I'm trying to remember the name of the song. And dance by the light of the moon, and which, by the way, was a featured song in oh my gosh, classic movie. Now I'm blanking on it, from black and white.
It'll come back to you.
The Christmas movie.
Christmas in black and white.
It'll come to me.
Not It's Wonderful Life?
No, yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah.
That was the only black and white Christmas I could think of. It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I know that movie I haven't even seen its entirety.
Right, and I was just going to say,
I haven't even seen that one in its entire movie, but I got it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
I couldn't think of, I don't know why that name just couldn't come.
No, right. Now, this being a comedy and a farce and stuff, what did it mean when the one character at the wedding there said something about a $50 savings bond?
That's sort of it's really a punchline, because if you think about Peter Falk arranged for the money, the reward, so to speak, for that they basically each got $5 million, right? Okay. And each of them, Alan Arkin and Peter Falk, gave $1 million each to the kids, right, as a wedding present. So the fact that Ed Begley comes and says, "Oh, this is from the guys at the office who thought you might know. Here's a $50 savings bond," and they pretend like that's the best gift ever. Oh, thank you so much. It's really thoughtful.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, so that's what that's all about.
That's good.
It's while I don't rate this movie as high, I wouldn't give it a 5 stars. Definitely, it's a solid 4 stars out of 5, because of the acting, because of the comedy that is just. It's.
So you would still go as far as 4 and not like 3?
Oh yeah.
Not 3 something.
Oh no, I would
No,
go
no?
solid
Still
four.
four, solid
Oh,
four?
solid
Nice.
four.
Solid
and,
four,
and,
nice.
and I'll tell you, there's some other things. Some of the comic material is used in other movies later on.
So this kind of started it if it was used in other movies?
Yeah, oh yeah. And I was trying to think of a movie, comedy movie that had similar car chases, like the way the car chases were constructed, and the way the my favorite line in the whole movie, as I said, "There's flames coming out of my car. There's flames." As Alan Arkin is trying to escape from Treasury agents because he doesn't know what to do at this point, and he's not guilty of anything but thinks he is, right? So he ends up into this hiding out in a car detail shop, and they repaint his car, which is a luxury car. I think it's trying to remember, a BMW, I think, if my memory serves me correctly. It's like a BMW, and they paint it with this very typical, at the time, the 70s type of painting. They paint the car, and it's got flames on it, and that's like he's calling Vince Ricardo, and on the phone he's going, "There's flames coming out of my car. There's flames in my car." So
interesting line.
Yeah, it's an interesting line. It's just funny, and then he ends up going into Lodi Airport and ends up going down to South America.
Oh, right.
Central America.
Wow, so you sound like you really, really enjoyed this one.
I do, and if it's ever on, I watch it.
Is it ever on anymore?
Oh yeah, every once in a while, and I think I have the DVD.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because you sound like you like do more like streaming now.
Yeah, I do more streaming now than because, but there are just some movies that are not available.
Not available anymore. Yeah.
They're just not available to stream.
Well, when you first told me about it, I didn't have anything at the time where I could like watch it for free. Right. So I think I did like an Amazon rental or something.
Right. And to me, it's worth the money. The 2000 remake, don't waste your time or your money.
Right, exactly.
As far as and I like Michael Douglas. I like, as I said before,
exactly.
So, yeah.
So that's basically all of Rabbi's thoughts about the movie and my notes about it in the beginning, which you were able to explain all the notes. That was good.
Yeah.
And
there are, again, you have to know a little bit of history, American history, because some of the references are dated.
Well, that's why I wrote down those notes, because then you could explain where the history was coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the only downside. That's why I wouldn't give it 5 stars.
Right. 4 out of 5 is still pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's a good. That's what I say. It's a good movie. Oh, I'll give you. Did anybody, if you saw The Whole 9 Yards, the movie with
Bruce Willis, and rest in peace to Matthew Perry.
Perry.
What about that movie?
So a couple of the ideas. Matthew Perry plays a dentist.
Oh,
Bruce Willis gets him involved in a scheme to get money. So it has some
similarities.
Similar. And Matthew Perry plays like this dentist who gets involved with all this stuff, and he's really innocent, very, it's all over.
That's what makes it
so, a lot of, there's some of the tropes that are used that are used from the in-laws that are used in other movies. So.
Okay. In our next session, so I need you to watch this whole the whole thing this time.
Yeah, I have to watch the whole
thing. Watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully before next week.
Yeah.
The last official James Bond movie, No Time to Die.
Right.
So for anybody that's a Bond fan, we're going to go deep into that one.
Right.
And with all that said, support your local movie theater throughout the decade of the 2030s to have a cinematic experience with strangers like no other, a community of strangers in a big theatrical experience with a really neat director and really terrific actors, because streaming movies online at home is just not the same thing at all. And just like dancing was mentioned towards the wedding at the end of this movie, everybody dance and have a good time. This is friend and co-host Rabbi and Millennial Man Motions Entertainment, LLC, signing out to a No Time to Die discussion.